Okay, so just watch here for a second. We'll begin with a mudra today, a hand seal position. And this is one of the healing mudras that speaks of acceptance. So the idea is being able to process sadness or resistance or a feeling of being stuck, which we might be experiencing right now. It also could be just a feeling of being stuck in the past. So the suggestion is working up to 10 minutes of it. My suggestion is anytime your hands get feeling overwrought with it, it's too much, just let it go. So I definitely want you to listen to the feedback in your body. This is what we do. Index fingers will both curl in toward the little web crevice of the thumbs. And you just do what you can there. Don't make it too tight. And then the thumbs will come to rest over the pinky fingernails. So you just let it rest. You don't have to be rolled. It's already going to be kind of a tight feeling mudra. You don't have to add a lot of pressure there. Then you have these little bunny ears left over with your middle finger and ring finger. And you can just let your arms rest either palms up on your lap, or if you choose to lie down, you can let your arms rest at your sides, palms up. Okay? So I don't know about you, but I can already kind of feel that work in my hands. And again, if it gets a little too intense, then release it. You can always come back to it if you want. So this is our acceptance mudra. So go ahead and close your eyes and just settle into your seat or into your back body, whatever your choice, resting on the earth. Soften through your jaw, relax the throat, soften the neck muscles and the shoulders, and just drop in a little deeper into your body, beginning to shift your focus and awareness from whatever your day held for you, whatever busyness, whatever issues that may or may not be resolved. And just allow those to start to fade into the backdrop of things. So a very common theme of being able to become more fully present, of being able to sort of work through whatever comes our way in life, is this idea of acceptance. And I always try to remind my students that it's not a notion of waving the white flag in a way that you're giving up. It's more of being present with just a reality check of where you're at right now, how you're actually feeling in your body, your mind state, your emotional state. And as yogis, we learn to do that with a bit of objectivity, so we don't get so freaked out or caught up in it. So just allow yourself to be with what's going on in you right now. Sensation, thought, emotion, and maybe just the accumulation of what's happening in your life and in the world right now. And we can just hold ourselves in a space of compassion and presence to what is. So I'll let you just kind of be with that. Be with the little subtleties of the breath. Be with your own reality of how you're doing right now. And it's really from that space of presence and just accepting, okay, this is what it is. It's from there that we can begin to make a difference in any situation, circumstance, or internal environment we're experiencing. So it might teach you to breathe through what's happening. It might help you soothe yourself with the idea of letting something go. And it gets us out of that place of denial, projection, or even distraction, so that then we can recognize what's the wise next movement, action, word. Or perhaps sometimes the wisdom is to not do anything and just breathe with what is. So we're going to breathe out some cleansing breaths. I want you to receive a nice full breath in and then letting it go. Continue that a few more times. And one more. Good. And when you're ready, just return to the breath moving in and out of the nose. And then in our acceptance mudra, I'll just guide you through a short little metta intention, a loving kindness, sort of a prayer or intent, first toward yourself and then toward others. So you can just keep your eyes closed and just let my words be your words, and then you can repeat them to yourself. May I be safe. May I love and be loved. May I extend compassion and care toward myself and others. May I know peace. So just breathe that in. Now we'll move that presence and metta, loving kindness, out to others. May you be safe. May you love and be loved. May you extend compassion and care toward yourself and others. May you know peace. And just rest in that. Rest in your breath. This loving kindness practice is a Buddhist practice. And sort of this intentional way of connecting through thought and through energy from your heart and mind to others. So now let your head just bow towards your heart. Breathe into your back, inviting the backside of the diaphragm to fill. And on your next in-breath, rather than roll the head, I want you to just turn the head to look underneath to the right of you. And then exhale down again. And inhale underneath to the left of you. And exhale down again. Repeat that again. When your head is looking down again, just let the mudra unfurl. Feel that energy release through your thumbs and fingertips. Then interlace your hands in front of your bowed head. Push the palms forward. Tone the pit of the belly and round the upper back. Begin to lean side to side, keeping a station of strength through the lower core. As you open up the back muscles and start to coax some of the shoulder blade muscles. And then back at center, push out, inhale up. Bend the elbows, release your arms out. Stretch right hand over, left arm, semicircles. Collarbones wide, tip the chin down slightly. Breathe into both sides, the compressed and open side. And then push down through the right hand and reach up tall through the left arm. Exhale over to the left. Again, widening the collarbones, tip the chin down slightly. Breathe. And then pushing into the earth, inhale. Exhale into Saguaro cactus. So bring the elbows slightly forward,
of the sideline of the body, so you don't want to open too far. Bring it slightly forward, and then see how it feels to just explore very gently the rotational movement of the shoulder joints. So there's a slight external rotation and a tip of a slight internal rotation. Now again, under the radar of pain, super important. So lots of rotator cuff stuff going on there. So if you tip too far and you feel any pinching, back off of your range. And then the next time the elbows tip slightly forward and the palms are slightly out, they might be straight up for you, they might angle out. Just notice what that feels like. Center the body, breathe. And then tip to neutral and bring the arms toward each other. Lace your fingers. And from here, you don't have to have the elbows come in and touch, but some of you that might be comfortable for you. And we're going to just isometrically hug in. So if you think of going 100 miles an hour, your max, I want you to go more about 20, 25 miles an hour with your pressing in. Lengthen the back of the neck. Take your upper torso and arms and head to twist to the right. And then with your head centered and the neck long, turn to look left. Try not to feel like you're leaning off onto that right hip. Keep it really stable through the center. Inhale, rotating just the upper ribs and the upper back and head over to the left. So your core is holding your lower abdomen over to the right. Tip the chin down and then turn the head to look right. Good. So you're looking away from the arms. Good job. And just notice the sensations that you feel. And then inhale back to center. Let's switch the lace of the fingers. Push the palms forward a second time. With the belly toned, look down. Lean your arms out over each leg. Okay, and then back at center, push out, inhale up, bend the elbows, exhale back to a T. So a couple more. This is really for wrists, and if you're having to sit at the desk, you're going to turn the back of the hands to face each other. Cross your right arm over the left. See if you can lace your fingers. And then from there, bend your elbows out. It's a bit of a wrist trick, and you roll the arms in. Good. And so from there, you can stay right there. You might already be feeling a lot in the wrists or the forearms. Of course, if this exacerbates any pain, back off. And then if you'd like, you can very gently, and I'll show this from the side, you can very gently raise the elbows up. It doesn't take much for me to really feel it back through the back side of the shoulder. Uh-oh, I think I lost my arm hand position. But you can add a little bit to that, the neck long. Okay, good. And then we're going to start to lower that down, unwrap the kind of funky position. Good. And then you're going to swing on top and you roll it in again. And then you may or may not let the elbows rise. And you're trying not to do that from compensating in the shoulders. So the shoulders stay pretty calm as the elbows may or may not lift. Careful with your wrists because it will put a little more pressure on the wrists. And breathe. Breathe where you feel it. Get some interesting lines on the underside of the arm and connections of the shoulders. Good. And then start to lower it, unwrap it, undo it, release, and then roll one shoulder then the other. Just kind of get a little more fluid, a little more flowing motion in the upper body. All right, last one. And this one's kind of silly. It's something that I've probably done since I was a kid, but I actually have a massage therapist and a brilliant PT background friend who said she gives this for people who end up with some tendonitis issues or mouse issues. And you may or may not make the full superhero goggle position, but you're going to try. So your index and thumbs come together like OK signs. And you start to spin the fingers towards you and see if you can touch kind of under your chin. And then you see if you can put on your own personal superhero mask. So from there, completely ridiculous, right? So you get a little bit of your kid to play. And you also get a very interesting spiral. It has to do with the fascia lines of the arms and how the tendons get really tight and stuck with all this prone work our hands have to do, especially on computers and phones and devices. So I don't know about you, but I can feel the wrists big time today. All right, and then go ahead and remove your superhero goggles and release, and then just practice a little spiral of the arm. So you just go to where you can. Doesn't have to be super exaggerated. So I got on this, got down this rabbit hole today of trying to clear my inbox and my email. Oh my gosh. Hands on the thighs and roll back. And it just, there's so many. You erase 1,000 and then you go, how can there be more? So I can definitely feel my wrist today. All right, so scoop up the legs. We're going to move into next phase here. And fold your blankets in half. If you have a little extra knee padding there, that would be great. And we're going to shift into tabletop position. So then even just here with the hands, we have to maybe give ourselves some options with the wrists. So I first like to kind of set one hand down, then the other, rock a little bit. So you actually get an appropriate hand position for you today. It doesn't have to be index finger perfectly forward or middle finger. It's where it feels good to your elbow and your shoulder. If your wrists are having none of this, you can come up on the fists as an option. You could also incorporate yoga blocks if you have them. And this makes the forearm position much better for cat-cow. So if you're just a little higher, it makes it better. So you could also just come to your forearms. And then the knees, I do the same thing. I kind of rock back and forth, get them in good position, point the toes straight back. On the in-breath, tip your tail downward and just to start to initiate the cat stretch. The exhale will continue to carry you through until the top of your head hangs. Then the in-breath, tip your tail slowly up, initiate down in the pelvis. Exhale, vertebra by vertebra, roll up. The crown of the head lengthens without cranking the chin up real far. So keep a nice congruent, gentle curve throughout the spine. And then initiate again, tail, inhaling, exhaling as you go along. Head hanging last. Start at the tail again. And just close your eyes. Make this more of an interoceptive or internal experience following breath and sensation. And yet, even with the eyes closed, you're noticing where your body's at in space, how it's moving, what shape it's taking. So you're still working on that proprioception as well. All right, and then coming back to a neutral spine, walk your hands a handprint forward. Again, an option for the wrists, you could come down on the forearms and do dolphin. Hug the arms in with me, curl the toes, tone the pit of the belly, and just lift the knees up in kind of this odd dog plank position. Get heavy in those hands, and then instead of pushing the hands away from you, pull the pelvis up and back. So you start to grow the pelvis up and back until you arrive in your dog, this first dog of the day most likely, and then bend one knee at a time and just start to take the legs for a little walk. As you're doing that, be mindful the toes are spread out, the center and outer heel gently extends without overdoing the calf Achilles or scrunching up the front of the ankle. So you're working with how to move more functionally as we do some very simple traditional movements. Try to roll to the top side of one foot and then back over those toes. Hopefully no cramping there. Be gentle. Good. And then after you're done with that, rise up high on the balls of the feet. Grow the neck long like the tortoise sticking its head out of the shell. Bend your right knee and twist to look underneath your left arm. And then inhale, balls of the feet. And it might be above the arm, that's fine. Bend your left knee, twist and look toward the right arm. And then back up on the balls of the feet, another full breath. And slowly descend, bring your knees down, rest in pose of the child. So you can just lower your hands and rest your head. No pressure on the knees or hips, or you can rest back toward your heels. And then inhale, bring your weight back up again. And we'll do a little tiger stretch just to warm up the core and the arms more. And this could be done on the fifth as well. And then we'll get off your wrists. So right leg's going to reach back, toes pointing down about the height of the sits bone. So try not to kick up too high. You could also have the foot down on the ground as an option. Spider walk your left hand out. Before you go on, grab the floor with your hand, pull back into the shoulder socket. Tone the pit of the belly like you're zipping up in the tight jeans. Take the end tip of the sternum slightly in toward the navel. Slide the head back and tip your chin slightly down. So that aligns the bandhas in yoga speak, and it adds into natural posture or kind of an indigenous posture position. From there, you may lift the left hand, palm facing in. So that's an option. So you have this great core going on, lining ribs, tone of the belly, back of the head. And if you're feeling like you have a lot of energy today, you could also try crossing knee toward elbow and extending again. You do not have to touch those. It's just the position of aiming that way. A little tip on strengthening your hip flexors while you're here. Try not to round the low back at all until the right knee passes the left. And then you might have a little bit of that rounding. Last one. And then set the hand down, set the knee down. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. Good job. And then shake out the wrists. That's some work there. Okay, hug in, last side. Left leg can extend back mid-air, or it can be down on the floor. Still a great core workout. And then the right arm, the fingertips walk out like spider fingers. Grab the floor with your hand and pull back into the shoulder socket. Tone the pit of the belly. Tip the sternum in a little bit so we're not dumping into the kidney area. Lengthen the back of the neck. Tip the chin down. Next inhale, you may raise the right arm up, palm facing in. And then practice your back breathing here. So filling up into the back side of the diaphragm. Bring in that power and energy. Exhale it out through the hand and the lifted foot. And then if you want to do the crossover, start to bend the knee. Start to round the back or tip the pelvis until the knee passes the right knee. Breathe as you go. I prefer exhaling as I come in and inhaling, extending. Last one. And then set the hand down, set the knee down. Good work. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. And come back to neutral. So breathe in a big breath and exhale a sigh out. And then we'll do a little side puppy stretch off of the wrists. So feet angle slightly to the left. Hands will walk a bit to the right. Walk your arms out and bring your forearms down so they're out a ways from your shoulders. Just make sure the shoulders are safe. And then you'll lean the hips about halfway back and hug very gently the arms back toward you isometrically. So the arm bones are in the sockets. If it's too much sway in your back, just add that little tone of the belly, the tip down of the sternum and the head and neck. Those 3 little power points come in handy for most poses. Back breathe. Feel that the left side's opening up through this angle a little bit more. One more. And then start to shift your weight forward. Take your time walking up. Come back to center. When you're at center, cat pose, rounding. And inhale. Arch into cow. And come back to neutral. So second side, feet shift slightly to the right, arms walk to the left, walk out in front of you and lower the forearms. So you're just at this little diagonal. And then you grab the floor with your arms, hugging back isometrically, not too harshly. And you can lean the pelvis back about halfway over the calf muscles. Tip your chin slightly down, add in the support of the ribs and the belly, and then breathe. Exhale, feeling that little bit of extra length through the right side of the body. Last one. And then shift your weight slightly forward so you're safe in the shoulders. Walk back up to the hands. Take your time. And once you're in tabletop, cat-cow. And come back to neutral. All right, so from here, rather than do rights and lefts, because we're probably facing different directions, whatever foot is farthest away from your camera and your computer right now, step that foot forward. Then you're going to lift your back knee, walk your hands inside the lunge, and walk toward me. Good, so take your feet with you, they'll appreciate that. As you're here, if you have your blanket right there within reach, you can fold it and move it off to the side. And so you have a decent width stance, but you have absolute choices about that. So you really want to feel what's solid for you, not too much of a stretch in the inner thighs. And then hands. So maybe it's too far down to the floor. You could bend your knees. You could walk up to the shins. You could even come up to the thighs and the knees. So you really want it to feel safe for you, okay? And then if the floor feels good, knees can stay bent or they can slowly go straighter. You can also walk your hands out a bit farther. The arm bones in the sockets, the shoulders kind of roll slightly out, the neck grows. Then breathe into the back, much like you were in side puppy pose. Breathe into the back. And exhale, soften. If you feel any tension in the hamstrings or the low back, please bend the knees. So just starting to get into the legs more here. From our first leg stretch really was down dog. This is Prasarita Padottanasana. And your next inhale, walk the hands in closer. Narrow the feet slightly so you're going to feel more solid. Bend your knees with a nice neutral spine. Walk your hands up to the thighs. Straighten up a little farther and breathe there. Again, make sure you're not dizzy. And then think of that hip hinging. So as you walk up, your spine stays neutral with the pelvis and pelvis tips forward. Okay, so I'll move the camera angle in just a second. Go ahead and pivot your left heel back, bend your right knee, and spin the right leg out. So in finding these, and if you need to adjust your angle, please do. So in finding this lateral or any stance in yoga, really what I want it to be for you, begin to make it more of an inner exploration of what feels right for you. So for years, I just relied on the mechanics of alignment-based yoga. And that's great, but it doesn't mean that it actually works in everyone's anatomy. So lately, I've been teaching more of a heel to heel alignment, or I actually like even more like an inch between the heels. For years, it was always heel to arch. So I want you to play with those options and see what feels better. If you have any joint sensation, and I don't even mean pain, but if you have sensation along the hips, low back, knees, ankles, I want you to narrow up the stance. And then try different channel spaces. So you start having more self-agency over like what your experience is. So then anatomically, it's better for pretty much everyone to let the pelvis rotate slightly inward, bend your front knee, and then play with kind of moving the pressure toward the back leg and the front leg. Just kind of bobbing a little bit back and forth. So this is kind of practicing, are the warrior legs functional? And one of the ways you can tell that is that it sort of lights up the chain of action from the back leg to the front leg, across the bridge of the pelvis, and back and forth. If there's no pain, no sensation along the joints, you're pretty good. So then bend that front knee again, get it nicely aligned. So the 3 points of power that again come from natural alignment theory, come from yoga and the bandhas they're called. So toning the pit of the belly is different than sucking the navel in. It's more using the transverse abdominis to wrap around us, especially in the low area here. So I think of it as like lacing up football pants. So lace up your football pants and then touch the end of the sternum. It's the little pointed xiphoid process at the end of the chest plate. And think of that not tucking, but like bowing, just or kind of pulling toward the navel. So it gets a little heavier. And it's not meant to slouch you, but it opens up your back ribs to be as even and open as your front ribs. So that's the first one's the belly, second one's the sternum. Hand on the back of the head, lengthen the back of the neck. So again, it'll feel a little longer than our normal mountain pose yoga position for the head. It's more this warrior's gaze. So the chin will feel slightly tipped down, but not real tight in the back of the neck. So there you've got your points. Now touch your shoulders and rotate just the upper body open. So it is a twist. It's from here open, no pain in the back, pelvis stays here, core is solid, arms reach out, bend the elbows. That little bend drops the shoulders more in their sockets. And then we'll do a little Tai Chi version of this. You can imagine doing a little hug of a cloud out in front of you here. So just kind of wrap your arms slightly forward. It protracts the shoulders. And what we're trying to do is get rid of some of this tension across the upper back and neck while the chest stays open, and it actually firms the pectoralis a little more in the biceps. And then with that warrior's gaze, kind of like you mean business there, turn the head to look right. Now it's kind of odd because your Tai Chi arms will be out hugging more in front and your head will be more aligned with your shoulders. And then just feel the solidness of it. If you want a little more balance challenge, try closing your eyes. And as you breathe, think if you can feel strength and ease happening at the same time. So I find a deeper sense of strength comes from the ease of being able to be there a while, of not struggling, of learning to effort properly, not over effort where it's not needed. So it's kind of bringing a little bit of the Tai Chi methodology into some yoga. Then slowly straighten the front leg and angle back. Left hand finds the thigh, push off of that, rise up. And I'll give you the choice. You can put the arm in kind of the normal position, shoulder blade on the back, or you can do the little hug and wrap it more forward, opening up that right shoulder blade more. And then breathe into it. Again, close your eyes if you want that extra challenge. And then inhale upright and bring both arms up. Equalize the waist length. Slightly bend the front knee. It's a micro bend. And practice shifting the head and the pelvis as a unit. So really the pelvis is learning to tip over the thigh bones, the hip bones, gliding a little off of the back one and over the front one. So you're just testing the waters there. How's your core feel? Little bend to the knee, sacrum, inner thighs safe. And the next time you come in, place the back of that hand at the inner knee or inner thigh. And then we're going to do the little willow branch here. So this will open up your spine more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, rotate just the upper body. Turn the head with that warrior's gaze. Inhale, reach. Exhale, rotating, open, maybe turning the head with it. And your core is really solid here, so it's got you. Your bottom hand's not so important. So it's very different than the triangle where we try to reach and touch the floor and we're just going for flexibility. This is about mobilizing with strength. Awesome. Okay. So next time that you swing forward, I want you to bend that front knee. Here's the option. You can bring the hand on top of the thigh, or if you can easily come down to the forearm, I'm going to widen out my foot stance to do that one. You can go there. We're going to do a bowing version of this. So it gets more into the quadratus, into the lats, and it feels hopefully good to the back. Look down. As you tone the belly, you're going to breathe into the back. Kind of like a wave lifts your side body up, and then exhale, reach it out through the arm. Inhale, bow. Roll it through the spine. Exhale, reach. It's just more of an undulating move. So again, bringing fluidity and more of a water-like motion to the body. One more. Excellent. Now, see if you can safely touch down to the floor. You might bend the back knee as well and start to turn your legs again toward the front. Adjust your feet so they're not so wide that your ankles feel safe. Bend your knees as much as needed or walk the hands up. And you're going to go back to your forward fold. If you want to walk the hands out, go for it. Keep them shoulder width. Grow the neck long. I'm going to keep my knees bent for my Hamstring and low back safety. See what feels right for you. Breathe into the back. Exhale. Soften. The spine softens as you exhale, and it puffs up as you inhale. Then walk the hands in, bend the knees, transfer up to the thighs, pause there. Make sure you feel steady. And then with a hip hinging motion, come on up and just give the ankles a little break. Let's heel toe together for a moment and just shake them out. All right, so back to our stance, and you get to choose that too. What's the width of your stance that works? If I have someone who comes in with pain anywhere along the low back to the feet, I have them go shorter, okay, narrower. And then bend your knees, buttocks back a little bit, lift your right heel, spin that leg inward and the heel back, bend your left knee, and spin open. So you've already got this kind of angle going on with the upper body. I want you to find your particular foot stance, play with it, bending and pushing back, so you feel like this little electric line touch base. Front leg, energy to back leg. If you have pain anywhere along those joints, change something. And so we're noticing how we're actually moving. It's not just a static pose that we're trying to make look pretty. And then when you land in the pose, hopefully feels excellent and everything feels prepared. So add your football pants, sternum, the power point there, tips down, back of the neck long. Warrior gaze is ready. Touch your shoulders. It's the upper torso that rotates open. Arms reach. Bend the elbows to let the shoulders drop into their little carport there. And then you can decide, do you want to do the little hug like we did before, kind of opening up the back as well as keeping the chest strong and open? And then with that head centered, you can look to the left with your Tai Chi hug. Or if you prefer to keep it open on this one, just give you that choice. And breathe. Close your eyes if you want, if you feel solid. You're getting a sense of where you're at internally, your experience there. You're watching your breath, so that's internal. You're feeling your whole body from feet and legs and torso and arms. So engaging multiple areas of the brain and creating kind of a double meditative state through awareness of the external and internal. And then open your eyes for the transition. Slowly go towards straight without locking that knee. Push off the back thigh, pole vault up over that right side kidney. And you choose, do you want the arm traditional position with the shoulder away from the ear? Or do you want to hug the cloud in front of you somewhat? And breathe. And what we're looking for is positive results. Are we feeling like we're getting some of the tension out of the body? And this is a method that's more about not so much over-efforting or going for pain in order to create gain, but where do we find ease and good post results? And it's strengthening as well. It definitely keeps me strong, even though I'm not pushing it like I used to. And inhale upright. Let's bring both arms up. Slight bend to the front knee to take the pounds of pressure off the sacrum. And practice your little teapot move. If it helps you put your hands on the pelvis. So it's like the teapot of the body is just tipping over. The forehead all the way down the chakras to the pelvic floor is staying in the same beautiful line. Okay. So next time you come in, check in with how that feels. Hopefully no pain. Back of the hand to the inner thigh or knee. If you need more support ever, you can place your hand. Then the willow arm. Swing it. Exhale, open, rotating from the upper body. Inhale, bow. Exhale, rotate, open. Maybe turn the gaze too. You've got your 3 power points working for you. Belly, sternum, chin tipping down. And you're exploring it. So it may not look exactly like mine, or you might not look like anyone else's. You're kind of exploring, where's my shoulder feel good? How much do I want to open the rotation? Where does it feel gliding, massaging the muscles? And the next time that you come forward, then we'll go into that second pose. So you can bend deeper And the hand can be on the leg, or you can come down on the forearm. If you need a little more width, heel toe the right foot further back. And then bow more toward the floor. With the belly tone, the tail sensing a descent through the back heel. Inhale and fill up the right side. Exhale, roll it like a wave out through your hand. Inhale, push down and open up the back. Exhale, roll it through. Couple more. Excellent. Now the hands are going to come down, but this time we're going to pivot on the back ball of the foot. If you need to lower the back knee, you do. Heel toe your front foot out of there. Carefully make your way to down dog. So change the hands if need be, plant them well. Gentle hug in of the arms, the armpits light and lifted. And just shift your weight slightly forward so you know you're not pushing with the hands, because that causes some detrimental stuff in the neck. So bend your knees and pull the weight up like a crane is pulling your pelvis up and back. It's just a whole different intent on movement. And then you don't have to fix the shoulders once you get there. The neck is long. Let's roll to the top side of each foot, because those ankles got quite a workout with the standing poses. Good. And then see how it feels, if you're feeling strong enough now, to bring the right leg up behind you, just to whatever height you can. Yeah, and just keep the tone in the belly. Maybe the pelvis opens slightly, maybe it stays more square. You're really working on keeping the underarms still lifted, the shoulders in the Goldilocks spot, the neck long. And then set that foot down. Just feel what it was to do that version of three-legged dog. Inhale, left leg up, affirming in that standing gluteal, the hip having lots of space and strength, shoulders in good placement. Breathe. And set the foot down. Excellent. Walk the feet as forward as you can, might just be a step, and then walk the hands back the rest of the way. Once you're there, walk your hands up to the legs. Press up 3/4 of the way. Let's just breathe in and exhale a good sigh. And again. One more. Good. So you're set up here for a nice chair pose. I just want you to fine tune it. The buttocks leaning back. They're definitely leading there. The feet in good position. They feel good. Toes spread out. We'll add those 3 points. So the lacing up the football pants, the sternum tips slightly down. If you need the hand on the back of the head to help you, slide the back of the neck long. Tip your chin slightly down. So just doing those 3 points, I have less weight in my hands now, and I can feel more work. So if you need to stay there with the hands, please do. If you're feeling pretty good, you're going to let your arms come to your sides. So you're back to that kind of the superhero about to leap up onto a building there. And you feel those core points really have you. No pain along the joints, but definitely some muscular strength going on. Try to breathe. Utkatasana, fierce pose. And then pressing into the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up, light and tall. And exhale, out of the mouth. Bring the hands down to your heart. Well done. All right, so go ahead and turn and face so that, and it doesn't matter if you're, which edge of the mat you're on, we can adjust that as we go. And we're gonna work some balancing work here. And we'll just go through. It's helpful for the hips. Some of it will seem easy, but it builds upon what it takes to balance well, what muscles are needed, and it's the idea that the hip joints are spacious. It's like you have the hip joint suspended instead of heavy and sinking, which often happens when we stand on one leg. So the first simple warm-up, just hands, even though we're warmed up, but for the standing balance, come up on the ball of the left foot, and hands on the pelvis, and notice that you're standing well on that right leg. So yes, it'll come over some, but it won't drop, okay? It also doesn't tuck. So you have excellent mountain pose posture. And then just this simple kind of roll. So what you want to be conscious of is that the knee isn't leading it. It doesn't tweak as you spin it around. The hip and the foot kind of are guiding, and the knee follows that motion. And the pelvis, you're teaching it to stay pretty steady. So it's really about the hip joint. And then pause and go the other way. Okay, making sure there's no tweaking, especially because the knee is the more vulnerable one here that needs to pay attention as it goes along for this ride. Good. And your standing leg might be getting a little tired just because it's practicing awareness and good alignment. Okay, and then shake it out a bit. Stand well, and we'll shift weight over to the left, up on the ball of the right. You can move the right foot a bit forward if that's helpful. Almost like a container is here in this hip, so it's just helping support. And then you can start the spin. Think of the hip joint initiating it and the foot working together, and the knee is trying to keep sort of in the same pace of the movement. Notice if, like, this side tends to be my weaker side, lots of history on this on my standing leg hip. And so I can feel it's already fatigued. So just notice that for yourself. And we take care to strengthen the weaker parts of the body, but also to rest when needed. Pause, go the other way. Keep breathing, just breathe easy. Good. And sometimes it's these simple, small moves that you think are innocuous, they don't mean much. Me out and have built a lot of strength around my core and my joints. So it's sneaky, but it works. All right, and then shake out that leg. So then from there, we're going to do a little toe tap. It's kind of like the beginning move of the little Charleston move sometimes I teach, but this is going to be pretty simple. So I'm going to show up from the side, and you're going to stand well. So again, hips don't tuck under. They're there. Your 3 points are there: belly, sternum, neck. And the arms we can add with it. So just step your right foot forward, left arm forward, and touch back. So we're not going for a big swing because we're keeping the pelvis pretty still. And that means your hip only has so much motion, especially going back. I think it's about 15 degrees or something. So steady as you go, reaching and tapping, reaching and tapping. The standing left leg's having to position you well and hold in a steadfast way. Okay, so if you want to try advancing this a little, you can pause with the leg lifted, and you can reach it back, and you can reach it forward. So not very far. Arms still do their things. And if that's not working, don't worry about it. Just tap the toes down. All right, last one. And then set the foot down. Excellent. Shake out the maybe a tired leg. It is for me. Find your kind of natural posture mountain again. Left foot forward, right hand forward, and then a tap. So it's a reach with the toes and a tap. Focus, sometimes straight ahead is good, sometimes down on the floor. Feel the steadiness of your right leg. The knee joint isn't locked, it's held well, just like the hip. Ankle as well. So everything really strengthening because you're learning to have this strength even as you move other parts of the body. And if you feel like you want more challenge and you're steady and it's safe, you can have the leg sort of suspend. I shouldn't turn my head while I try doing that. So drishti point, steady gaze. I find adding the jazz hands helps. So spread those fingers out. Last one. Okay, fantastic. And shake it out. So just notice, so what we really start engaging here is the upper glutes big time. So the gluteus medius, hip flexors, of course, quads, some of the other joining in muscles. So the next one will be a variation of tree. And we're going to, and it uses some of the twist technique that you keep the pelvis still and stable, and the upper body that we've been working today, it rotates kind of separately. if you want to think of it that way. Of course, it's all attached, but it's moving a little separately. We're going to keep the foot down on this one because it's challenging enough with a foot down. Hands to the pelvis. Bend your right knee up on the ball of the foot, left hip, good container, good positioning. The foot can be slightly forward of the left foot. That can be helpful. And then what you're going to practice is pelvis staying quiet so you can feel the pelvis there. We say hands on the hips, but that's your pelvis. And you're going to practice what we practiced earlier, the hip, knee, and foot moving as a unit, no more than 45 degrees out. So you can rotate it out externally. You may have motion to turn slightly inward. Not as much, but you may have it. If it feels not great to do that, just go straight ahead and open. Good. So already you can feel that's a hip workout, standing leg workout. Now adding the hands. Hands to the heart, Anjali Mudra. And you're going to open the leg and upper body only, press down through your left foot, will twist slightly to the left. Then inhale, center. Right leg turns in a little. Torso twists to the right. Just the upper body and the head. Inhale, center. Exhale. Open away from the open knee. Inhale, center. Exhale. Cross twist. One more each way. So there's a variation of this where you do it with the foot lifted. I found this is plenty challenging. Back to center, release. Shake it out. We're definitely going to have to do some glute stretches here before we finish. I can feel those gluteals. All right, so side two in your tree. Onto the ball of the left foot. The foot can be slightly forward, and you're feeling the tone and support of your left leg, strong and steady. Hands to the pelvis. Just practice the opening here. So in functional yoga work, they really talk about us learning to differentiate between the hip movement, which is what you're doing right now, and involving the pelvis or the sacrum. But sacral health means that we stabilize the pelvis often. We don't borrow from the sacrum. Hands to the heart. As you open the knee, twist away from it to the right. Just the upper body. Inhale, center. Exhale, knee across, and twist to the left with the upper body. Inhale, center. Exhale, open. Inhale, center. Exhale, little cross. Couple more. Okay, back at center, release, and shake it out. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to handle the batteries here. What I want you guys to do is go ahead and open a blanket. We will do a gluteal stretch here. So come down onto your back. We can grab extra stuff in a moment for Shavasana. But we're going to do a nice glute stretch. And I'm going to make sure the angle's right here. And this one also has changed over the years of the way I taught it for over a decade. And then how I'm applying sort of some of this functional movement and sacral health movement to it. So we all know this one. We've either done it in a gym class or a yoga class, Sukhi Randrasana. So we're going to practice it from that direction I was talking about with the hips. So bring your right knee in and lift the heel a little bit and practice your floor movement just like you did the tree. So rotate slightly externally. I'll show that from a top head view. So just that, while the pelvis stays level and pretty quiet on the floor. So it's a thigh bone, hip bone move. It's the same bone there. Then notice your rotations, probably about a max of 45 degrees, and try setting the ankle on the thigh or the knee, and then lifting again. Just do that a few times, just to get a sense of that's your rotation. That's the max rotation you'll do with that right thigh and right knee. And then set the heel, and then without pushing that thigh further open, have good self-control. Lift your left foot up off the floor, and what you'll notice is it's not that deep, right? We're used to pushing that right thigh open. You can just leverage with your left leg, its strength, or you can thread your hands through and behind the left thigh, and just ensure that you're not pushing open that right leg. Lengthen the neck and soften the chest. Good.
And so the hip angle for usually a healthy hip angle, it'll be different for different folks, is about 45 degrees, where we don't then pinch into the sacral ligaments and borrow from the pelvis. I can push my knee open easily 90 degrees. So it's not a matter of do you have the range, it's a matter of where does it get you when you exploit that range. So just let your body fill with breath. Let your exhale soften. I'm hoping even in this more narrow definition of this pose, you're feeling some good gluteal stretch, some external rotators. I can feel it into the gluteus medius as well. And I can feel some in the inner thigh from the rotation. Full body breath. Exhale, soften into the back. Couple more. And then releasing the hands if you're interlaced. Do that little lift that you practiced, then rotate the leg neutral, bend the knee toward you, and set the foot down. So you're just playing with this kind of movement in the hip. And then rest a moment. You might lift the buttocks up, set them down. I want you to just close your eyes and drop into that right hip. Notice how the front of the thigh is feeling, the outside of the buttock, the top of the buttock. Breathe in and exhale out of the mouth. So perhaps different sensations. The brain loves to learn through contrast. So for me, like my right side feels heavier, closer to the floor. Definitely more sensation in the right side. So we're going to now open up the left side. Bring your left knee toward you. Lift the foot up in the air. I'll show that top view again of it. And you'll practice just your mid-air rotation. So hands on the front of the pelvis just to kind of remind us, don't go too far. Don't take it way over. The pelvis will slightly shift, but that's not a big lean over to the left. All right, and then when you get your no more than 45-degree angle, try setting the heel on the knee or the thigh, and then just practice that. Can you do the little kind of side angle, 45-degree angle kick, and then lower it, and you're stable. You have a good opening position, your pelvis, your core is holding the pelvis. Next time you lower the heel where it's comfortable, then open your eyes and just notice that left thigh. It's not going to go any farther. Lift the right foot up off the floor. You can decide to thread if you'd like, or just use the strength of your right leg to hold you up. The ankle and the toes are a little bit spread out. The ankle's congruent. It makes sense with the shin bone and the knee. Remember, we don't want any pain in the joints. And then breathe. Front body breathes full. And exhale, letting go, softening into the back body. This is called Sukhi Randrasana, eye of the needle. Let the breath go even more directly where you feel it. Where do you feel it on this side? Is it similar to the right side? Wherever you feel it, invite the breath to make more space. Think of the space between the tight patterns that you're experiencing. And then on your next in-breath, hands release. Set the right foot down consciously, and then lift the heel in that side kick angle. Rotate the leg neutral, bend the knee toward you, and gently set down. So you're just playing with the different kind of motions the hip can make. And rest again, maybe shift the buttocks if you need to. Breathe in, exhale a good sigh. Drop for a moment down into the body. Notice how your hips feel. And wiggle the fingers and toes. Finishing up here, we'll take the feet slightly wider, arms out in a T or maybe lower for your shoulders. Rotate from the underarm to the palms up. Spread the toes and sway your knees gently right. Turn your head left. Glide back up like you're moving through water. Exhale, knees left, head right. Glide back up, inhale. And just follow your rhythm. Pay attention to the distance that feels good to go. And not going too far toward the floor, so no more than about 3/4 of the way to the floor, to keep space in the hips. And on the inhale, return to center. Let's narrow the feet. Walk one knee in, followed by the other. Hands on the knees and circle same direction. Just go right around the sacroiliac joints. See what feels good, a smaller circle or bigger. Tune in. And then pause and go the other way. And then pause again and set one foot down at a time. We'll prep for final relaxation for Shavasana. So if you need to add anything here, maybe a cushion under the legs or an extra blanket, maybe something underneath the head. So settle in, and I will be walking you through a somatic relaxation that I experienced yesterday with Eleanor Criswell. So she is the wife of Dr. Thomas Hanna that's passed years ago. She's in her 80s, and she teaches a lot of the somatic movements that I share in classes. So settle back, make any adjustments needed. Give yourself permission to relax a while. Allow me to be your voice for this guided relaxation. I am relaxing my feet. My feet are relaxing. I am relaxing my feet. I am relaxing my knees. My knees are relaxing. I am relaxing my knees. I am relaxing my thighs. My thighs are relaxing. I am relaxing my thighs. I am relaxing my hips and buttocks. My hips and buttocks are relaxing. I am relaxing my hips and buttocks. I am relaxing deep into my belly and the bowl of my pelvis. My deep belly and pelvis are relaxing. I am relaxing deep in my belly and the bowl of my pelvis. I am relaxing my spine and back muscles. My spine and back muscles are relaxing.
I am relaxing my spine and back muscles. I am relaxing my arms and hands. My arms and hands are relaxing. I am relaxing my arms and hands. I am relaxing my neck and shoulders. My neck and shoulders are relaxing. I am relaxing my neck and shoulders. I am relaxing my face. My face is relaxing. I am relaxing my face. I'm relaxing my head. My head is heavy and relaxing. I am relaxing my head. I am relaxing my whole body. My whole body is relaxing. My whole body is relaxed. And gently bring your attention back to your whole body, staying relaxed in your whole body. Tune in to how you feel, your state of mind, emotions, physical sensations. Reconnect with the movement of breath and sponge it in. Let it explore all the new spaces you've created through your yoga. As the breath deepens, become aware of the outline of your body. And let the awareness focus down into the extremities. Very softly move the fingers and the toes. With the neck long, let your head sway. If you have the impulse to stretch, do so. And then bending back into your knees one at a time, and then walking the knees in one at a time. As they come in toward you, let them widen, relaxing the back, relaxing the hips. Separate the knees slightly. Rock gently. Appreciate the time you've taken for yourself. And then roll to one side. Support your head for a full breath. And let your head hang as you press up to your seat. And our hands connect to our hearts. And as we bow, we offer that metta connection of intention. May we be safe. May we love and be loved. May we extend compassion and care to ourselves and others. And may we know peace. To each other, we say namaste. Namaste.